Let me tell you something that most people are too afraid to admit. Your anger is not your enemy, it's your wake-up call. From a young age, you've been programmed to believe that anger is something negative, something dangerous, something you need to hide. Teachers told you to stay quiet. Society told you to stay calm. And people around you made it seem like being angry means you're out of control. But what if all of that is wrong? What if anger is actually the most honest emotion you have? Because anger doesn't lie. Happiness can be faked. Comfort can be an illusion. But anger comes from truth. It comes from recognizing that something in your life is not where it should be. Think about it. When do you feel angry? You feel angry when you see someone else living the life you want. You feel angry when you know you're capable of more, but you're stuck doing less. You feel angry when you look at your bank account, your lifestyle, your situation, and deep down you know this is not the life you imagined for yourself. That feeling in your chest, that tension in your mind, it's not random. It's a signal, a direct message from your mind telling you that you're out of alignment with your true potential. Weak people run from that feeling. They distract themselves with entertainment, social media, excuses. They try to numb it because facing it would require change, and change is uncomfortable. But strong individuals, they don't run. They stop and they ask themselves a powerful question. Why do I feel this way? Because once you understand the source of your anger, you unlock clarity. Maybe you're angry because you're broke. Maybe you're angry because you're wasting your time. Maybe you're angry because you're surrounded by people who are going nowhere. That anger is not trying to destroy you. It's trying to guide you. It's pointing directly at the problem. And once you see the problem clearly, you have the power to fix it. But here's where most people fail. They feel the anger, but instead of using it, they let it control them. They complain, they argue, they blame others. They turn their anger outward instead of inward. And that's why they stay stuck. Controlled anger is power. Uncontrolled anger is destruction. That's the difference. The same emotion that can build empires can also ruin lives, depending on how you use it. If you let anger turn into excuses, it weakens you. If you turn anger into discipline, it transforms you. Every successful person has felt that fire at some point. The difference is they didn't ignore it. They didn't suppress it. They used it as fuel. Fuel to wake up earlier. Fuel to work harder. Fuel to push past limits when others quit. Because when you're truly angry about your situation, average effort is no longer acceptable. And here's the reality. You cannot change your life if you don't first become dissatisfied with it. That dissatisfaction is anger. It's the refusal to accept less than what you know you deserve. Without that feeling, you stay comfortable. And comfort is where dreams die. So instead of fearing your anger, you need to respect it. You need to listen to it because it's showing you exactly where your life needs work. It's telling you where you're falling short. It's forcing you to confront the gap between who you are and who you could be. Most people will never understand this. They'll continue to live their lives avoiding discomfort, avoiding truth, avoiding growth. But if you're paying attention right now, you're different. You're starting to realize that the emotions you've been taught to suppress might actually be the key to your transformation. That anger you feel, that's not weakness. That's awareness. Awareness that you're meant for more, awareness that you're not satisfied, awareness that something has to change. And once you become aware, you can never go back to being blind. Let's get something brutally clear. Comfort is the most dangerous place you can live in because it feels safe while it silently destroys your future. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because they're too comfortable. They wake up, do just enough to get by, entertain themselves all day, and convince themselves that tomorrow they'll do better. But tomorrow never comes. It never comes because comfort has already taken control. It wraps around you slowly, like a trap you don't even realize you're stuck in. And before you know it, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and your life looks exactly the same. You have to understand this. Nothing grows in comfort. Absolutely nothing. Every level of success, every form of wealth, every powerful transformation comes from stepping into discomfort. Yet most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid it. They avoid hard work, they avoid risk, they avoid pressure, and then they wonder why they're not progressing. You can't have a millionaire mindset with a comfort-based lifestyle. It doesn't work like that. The two are completely opposite forces. One demands sacrifice, the other demands ease. One pushes you forward, the other keeps you exactly where you are. Think about your daily routine. Be honest with yourself. How much of your day is actually spent growing, and how much of it is spent being comfortable? Scrolling endlessly, watching videos, talking without purpose, delaying the things that actually matter. It feels harmless in the moment, it feels relaxing, it feels deserved. But that comfort comes at a cost. The cost is your potential. Every hour you spend in comfort is an hour you're not building, not learning, not improving. And while you're sitting there feeling relaxed, someone else is uncomfortable. Someone else is grinding. Someone else is getting ahead. That's why comfort is so dangerous. It doesn't feel like a problem. It doesn't hurt you immediately. It doesn't give you instant consequences. It slowly drains your ambition without you even noticing. It convinces you that you have time, that you can start later, that it's okay to take it easy. And by the time you realize what it's done to you, you're already far behind. Meanwhile, the people who win, the people who build wealth, the people who dominate, they have a completely different relationship with comfort. They don't chase it, they don't rely on it, and they definitely don't stay in it. They understand that discomfort is the price of progress. They wake up when they don't feel like it. They work when they don't feel motivated. They push themselves when everything in their body is telling them to stop. Why? Because they know that every moment of discomfort is an investment into a better future. They've trained their minds to associate discomfort with growth. While others see pain, they see opportunity. While others see struggle, they see progress. And here's where your anger comes back into play. That frustration you feel with your current life, that's your mind rejecting comfort. It's telling you that the easy path you're on is not leading anywhere meaningful. It's telling you that if you keep choosing what's easy, your life will stay hard. Because that's the trade-off most people don't understand. Easy choices lead to a difficult life, while difficult choices lead to an easier life. You can either suffer the pain of discipline now, or the pain of regret later. The truth is, you don't need more motivation. You don't need more advice. You need to break your addiction to comfort. You need to start choosing actions that challenge you, actions that push you, actions that make you uncomfortable. Because that's where real change happens. Not in your comfort zone, not in your routine, not in your safe space, but in the moments where you feel resistance and choose to move forward anyway. Right now, your life is a reflection of what you've been comfortable with. If you're comfortable being average, your life will stay average. If you're comfortable making excuses, your results will reflect that. But the moment you decide that comfort is no longer acceptable, everything begins to shift. Your habits change, your mindset changes, your standards rise, you stop settling, you stop delaying, and you start taking control. Because at the end of the day, wealth is not built by people who seek comfort. It's built by people who are willing to sacrifice it. Listen carefully, because this is where everything separates. The difference between people who stay stuck and people who completely transform their lives is not what they feel, it's what they do with what they feel. Everyone experiences emotion. Everyone feels anger, frustration, pressure, stress. But most people waste it. They sit in it, they complain about it, they talk about it, they post about it, but they never convert it into anything useful. And that's why their lives don't change. Emotion without action is just noise. It's energy with nowhere to go. You have to understand that your emotions are powerful, but they're useless unless you direct them. Anger can either sit inside you and slowly poison your mindset, or it can be turned into fuel that drives you forward every single day. The choice is yours. The problem is, most people have never trained themselves to control that energy. They react instead of act. They let their emotions dictate their behavior instead of using their emotions to power their behavior. So when they feel frustrated, they distract themselves. When they feel pressure, they avoid it. When they feel anger, they release it in the wrong direction, arguing, blaming, wasting time. But imagine if you flip that completely. Imagine if every time you felt anger, instead of stopping, you moved. Instead of complaining, you worked. Instead of scrolling, you built. That's the shift. That's where everything changes, because now your emotions are no longer holding you back, they're pushing you forward. Every negative feeling becomes a trigger for action. Every moment of frustration becomes a moment of productivity. You stop being controlled by how you feel and you start controlling what you do. This is what relentless action looks like. It's not about feeling motivated all the time. It's not about waiting until you're in the perfect mindset. It's about moving regardless. It's about training yourself to take action even when you don't feel like it. Because the truth is, you will not feel like it most of the time. There will be days when you're tired, days when you're frustrated, days when nothing seems to be working. And those are the moments that matter the most. Because anyone can work when they feel good. Anyone can take action when they're motivated. But only a few can push forward when everything inside them is resisting. That's where discipline is built. That's where growth happens. When you take that emotional energy and force it into action, you create momentum. And momentum is powerful. Once you start moving, it becomes easier to keep moving. Once you start building, it becomes easier to keep building. But the hardest part is always the beginning, the moment where you have to choose action over comfort, effort over excuses, movement over stagnation. You need to stop waiting for the perfect moment because it doesn't exist. There is no perfect time to start. There is no moment where everything aligns and suddenly it becomes easy. That's an illusion. The only thing that matters is what you do right now, in this moment, with the energy you have. Whether you feel ready or not doesn't matter. Whether you feel confident or not doesn't matter. Action creates clarity. Action builds confidence. Action produces results. And here's something you need to accept. Thinking alone will never change your life. Planning alone will never change your life. Talking about your goals will never change your life. Only action will. Massive, consistent, relentless action. The kind of action that continues even when there's no immediate reward. The kind of action that doesn't stop just because it's hard. The kind of action that becomes a habit, a standard, a part of who you are. When you start living like this, everything shifts. Your mindset becomes sharper, your focus becomes stronger, your results begin to show. You stop feeling stuck because you're no longer standing still. You stop feeling powerless because you're taking control. And most importantly, you stop wasting your emotions because every feeling you have is being used for something productive. Because at the end of the day, your emotions are not the problem. Your lack of action is. You need to hear this without any filter, without any softening, without anyone trying to make it sound nicer than it is. The world does not care about your intentions, your struggles, or your excuses. It only responds to one thing: results. That's it. You can have the biggest dreams, the best plans, the strongest AOE, but to succeed, but if you don't produce results, none of it matters. And that truth is hard for most people to accept because it removes every excuse they've been hiding behind. People want recognition for effort. They want credit for trying. They want sympathy for struggling. But the reality is, effort without outcome doesn't change your life. You don't get paid for trying, you get paid for delivering. You don't get respected for thinking about success, you get respected for achieving it. That's how the system works, whether you like it or not. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can start playing the game properly. Look around you. The people who are winning, the people who have money, influence, freedom. They are not there because they complain the loudest or because they had the hardest life. They are there because they produced something valuable. They built skills, they solved problems, they created results. That's the only language the world understands. And if you're not speaking that language, you're going to be ignored. This is where strength comes in. Not just physical strength, but mental strength, emotional control, discipline, consistency. Because producing results is not easy. It requires you to show up every single day, even when you don't feel like it. It requires you to push through setbacks, failures, criticism, and doubt. It requires you to stay focused when distractions are everywhere. Weak people can't do that. Weak people look for shortcuts, for validation, for easy wins. But strength is built in the moments where things are difficult, where progress is slow, where nothing feels rewarding, yet you keep going anyway. And here's the part most people don't want to hear. Nobody is coming to save you. There is no one who is going to step into your life and suddenly fix everything. No one is going to hand you success. No one is going to force you to become better. It's all on you. Your results are your responsibility. If your life is not where you want it to be, that's on you. And that's not meant to discourage you. It's meant to empower you. Because if it's your fault, it's also your opportunity to fix it. You have to stop measuring your life based on how hard you feel like you're trying and start measuring it based on what you're actually producing. Are you improving your skills? Are you increasing your income? Are you building something meaningful? Or are you just staying busy and calling it progress? Because there's a difference. Being busy feels productive, but it doesn't guarantee results. Real progress is measurable. It shows up in your bank account, your knowledge, your abilities, your position in life. This is why discipline matters more than motivation. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. But discipline is what keeps you producing results when motivation disappears. It's what forces you to work when you're tired, to focus when you're distracted, to continue when things aren't working yet. And over time, that consistency compounds. Small actions repeated daily turn into massive outcomes. That's how real success is built. Not overnight, not instantly, but through relentless execution. At some point, you have to make a decision. You either accept the reality of how the world works and adapt to it, or you keep complaining about it and stay stuck. You either build strength, develop skills, and produce results, or you stay in the same position hoping things will change without you changing. And hope is not a strategy. Waiting is not a strategy. Wishing is not a strategy, because in the end, the world doesn't reward who you are. It rewards what you prove. There comes a moment in every person's life where everything becomes crystal clear, a moment where you can no longer lie to yourself, no longer pretend that things will magically improve, no longer hide behind distractions and temporary comfort. It's the moment where you realize that your life is exactly what your actions have created. And if nothing changes, nothing changes. That realization is powerful, but it's also uncomfortable because it forces you to face the truth that where you are right now is not an accident. It's a result of your habits, your decisions, your discipline, your mindset. And once you see that clearly, you are left with only two options. Either you level up or you stay exactly where you are. Most people try to convince themselves that there's a middle ground. They think they can stay comfortable while slowly improving, that they can keep their old habits and still create a new life. But that's not how it works. Growth demands change, and change demands sacrifice. You cannot become a different person while doing the same things. You cannot expect better results while repeating the same patterns. Every level in life requires a new version of you, and if you're not willing to evolve, you will remain stuck. Think about it. How many times have you said you'll start tomorrow? How many times have you promised yourself you'll be more disciplined, more focused, more consistent? And how many times did you actually follow through? That gap between what you say and what you do, that's where your life is being decided. Because your future is not based on your intentions, it's based on your actions. You don't get what you want, you get what you repeatedly do. Leveling up is not about motivation, it's about standards. It's about deciding that the life you're currently living is no longer acceptable. It's about raising your expectations for yourself and refusing to fall below them. When your standards are low, you tolerate distractions, you tolerate laziness, you tolerate excuses. But when your standards rise, everything changes. You start to reject anything that doesn't move you forward. You become more focused, more disciplined, more intentional with your time and energy. And here's the hard truth: leveling up is not comfortable. It requires you to do things you don't feel like doing. It requires you to step into situations that challenge you, to face fears you've been avoiding, to let go of habits that have been holding you back. It requires you to separate yourself from environments and people that keep you stuck. And that's not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. Because if it were easy, everyone would do it. The difficulty is what creates the separation. The difficulty is what filters out those who are serious from those who are just talking. At the same time, staying stuck also has a cost. It might feel easier in the moment. It might feel more comfortable, but over time it becomes painful. Regret builds. Frustration grows. That voice in your head that tells you that you're capable of more, it gets louder. And eventually, you reach a point where the pain of staying the same becomes greater than the pain of changing. That's the moment where real transformation begins. But the question is, why wait for that moment? Why wait until you're forced to change when you can decide to change right now? Time is moving whether you act or not. Every day that passes is a day you don't get back. While you're hesitating, someone else is taking action. While you're overthinking, someone else is building. While you're delaying, someone else is improving. Life is not slowing down for you. Opportunities are not waiting for you. The world keeps moving, and if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. This is why you have to make a decision, and not just a temporary decision driven by emotion, but a real decision backed by action. A decision that shows up in what you do every single day. Because saying you want to level up means nothing if your habits stay the same. Saying you want success means nothing if your actions don't reflect it. Everything comes down to execution. Everything comes down to what you choose to do with your time, your energy, your focus. At the end of it all, your life will be the result of the standards you set and the actions you take. No one else is responsible for that. No one else can do the work for you. You are either building momentum or losing it. You are either growing or staying the same. There is no neutral position, no pause button, no waiting zone where life just holds still until you're ready. So here's the truth you need to accept. Your life will never improve by chance, by comfort, or by hoping someone else will fix it for you. Anger, frustration, dissatisfaction, these are not weaknesses. They are signals warning you that your current life is not enough and giving you the fuel to take control. Comfort is your enemy, but relentless action, discipline, and the refusal to settle are your allies. The world rewards strength, results, and those willing to push beyond excuses, beyond fear, beyond temporary pain. Every moment you hesitate is a moment wasted. Every day you delay is a day someone else is surpassing you. You have a choice: stay stuck, settle for average, and let life pass you by, or take that anger, that energy, that dissatisfaction, and turn it into unstoppable action. Level up your mindset, raise your standards, sharpen your discipline, and refuse to accept mediocrity. Because only by facing discomfort, harnessing your emotions, producing real results, and constantly leveling up will you break free from being ordinary. The fire is already inside you. The question is whether you're going to let it burn you or use it to build the life you've always wanted. It's time to decide. Get angry, get rich, or stay broke.